This is the story of a dangerous butcher who took on the country's largest human trafficking gang, a Bahooted gang. But the gangsters had no idea about this seemingly ordinary butcher's past or true identity. The story begins at a mafia base where human trafficking is rampant. There are many girls there who have either come there out of compulsion or have been forcibly brought there. Our hero Samson goes there posing as a customer and waits to meet their boss. When someone comes to offer him water, Samson secretly spikes it with something, making sure no gangsters see him who him. After a while, the gangsters signal him to enter. He is checked at the gate and suddenly, a metal detector starts ringing, alarming the gangsters. But it's just a clip in which Samson had hidden his money. Once inside, the mafia boss asks him to sit down and asks if he's brought the money. Samson places the money on the table and says he wants to see the child he's come for. End of Troy. The boss laughs and asks, "Why are you so nervous? Is this your first time in Moldova?" Samson replies, "Yes, and I'm nervous because you're charging so much for an hour. Just then, the thugs bring in a little boy named Victor. Samson is about to go to the child when the mafia boss's phone rings. The boss's face turns pale as he speaks. He immediately orders his men to take the child back to the room. He tells Samson, "I have friends all over the world, even in that child's village. One of my friends told me that the child's mother sent someone to rescue him." When Samson realizes his plan has failed, he tries to settle the matter with money. But the mafia boss refuses, because now Samson has seen their faces. Now the real action begins. What Samson mixed in the water was actually acid. He throws it at the face of the thug standing behind him, who was about to strangle him. Then Samson picks up a knife from the table and begins killing everyone, one by one. His knife-wielding skills are so dangerous that even those with guns can't stand him. After killing everyone inside, Samson also eliminates the thugs coming out. When everyone is dead, he goes to the child, removes his fake mustache, and lovingly says, Don't be afraid. Your mother sent me to save you." They both leave the mansion where Samson had hidden his motorcycle. Before leaving, Samson presses a remote, and the bombs fitted to all the mafia's vehicles explode simultaneously. The blast kills the few remaining thugs, and they both escape. The next morning, the phone rings in Samson's room. The call is from a policeman who knows Samson. He tells him there's a car parked downstairs. Sit quietly in there, and remember, Samson, you owe me a favor. His friend, Selvin, a policeman, becomes furious. Selvin says, "I risk my job to help you, and what have you done? And what have you done?" Samson tries to explain that he did it to save the child, but Selvin removes a cloth, and what he sees is horrifying. There are the bodies of countless children, burned to death in the fire. In fact, the fire from the vehicle Samson detonated had spread throughout the mansion. Samson didn't even realize that in trying to save one child, he had killed dozens of innocent children who were imprisoned there. Seeing this, Samson is stunned and goes into shock. Selvin brushes him off, saying, "You're a soldier, not a policeman, and this isn't Afghanistan, where you can just detonate bombs anywhere. Bro, I'm not sending you to jail, but do me a favor. Quit this. You sell me, do what you do. Leave it to the police." Samson leaves with a broken heart. Months after this incident, a new family enters the story, Mada. Andrew Fedden, a famous MMA fighter from America, arrives in Moldova with his wife Monica and daughter Becky. Andrew has come for a fight. Andrew is taking pictures of his daughter, Becky. But he is completely unaware that a woman named Emily is secretly watching and photographing Becky. As Andrew's family leaves for the hotel, Emily notes their car's license plate and immediately calls someone. Catched a game. On the way, their car passes a meat shop. It turns out to be Samsung. Samsung has now completely given up his old job and is living his life as a simple butcher. But the past still haunts him. He is constantly haunted by the burning faces of those innocent children. After arriving at the hotel, Andrew and Becky sit in their room, watching videos of their opponent. Becky says the internet signal is very poor and she can't upload photos. Andrew tells her to go to the balcony to check the signal and goes to take a shower and go. As soon as Becky goes to the balcony, she finds Emily, the same woman who was following them. Emily engages her in conversation and lies, saying the signal on the second floor is much better. "Come, I'll take you there." When Andrew comes out of the shower, he finds Becky missing. Only her laptop is lying there. He calls her, but the phone is unanswerable. Monica also wakes up, but she too has no idea where her daughter has gone. Panicked, Andrew immediately goes to the hotel lobby to look for her. Andrew asks the hotel manager for help. The manager immediately calls security. But then Andrew sees a girl who looks exactly like Becky. He quickly runs after her, but alas, it's someone else. Andrew wanders the area, searching every street but finds no trace of Becky. Meanwhile, the Moldovan police spring into action, raiding every place known to be involved in human trafficking. Hotel CCTV footage is also checked, but to no avail. The news spreads like wildfire. It's all on every news channel. The daughter of a former MMA world champion is missing. Samson, sitting in his shop, watches the news on TV. Shortly after, Andrew and Monica wander into Samson's meat shop. Andrew says, "Someone from the American embassy told us there's a man named Samson who can find our daughter." But Samson, wanting to escape his past, lies. The Samson you're looking for is dead. They both turn to leave. But Monica, a former military veteran herself, notices a distinctive tattoo on Samson's back. She immediately realizes this isn't an ordinary butcher, but a former soldier. She realizes it's Samson, and Samson still denies, I can't help you. You see, I'm just a simple butcher. But Andrew and Monica aren't the ones to give up. Monica and Andrew once again plead with Samson, promising to give him any amount of money if he finds their daughter in Damme's game. But Samson coldly refuses, advising them to go to the police. Samson has still not forgotten the trauma of the children who died in the previous accident. After their departure, Samson begins to see the bodies of the innocent children who died due to his mistake. When he closes the shop and heads home, his son, Selvin, comes to meet him. Then we learn that Selvin was the man who sent Andrew to his father from the American embassy. Selvin tries to convince his father that the police won't do anything because influential people and politicians are supporting the thugs to cover up their own mistakes. But Samson still refuses. Selvin angrily retorts, "If you can't help anyone, then you're just a mere useless butcher." Samson, unfazed, replies, "Son, your grandfather was a butcher too." Andrew, however, refuses to give up. He visits the city's seedy neighborhoods, clubs, and bars, showing his daughter's photo. There, he meets an old woman who claims to have information, but demands money. Taking the money, she points to a bar. Andrew enters without thinking, but upon searching, he discovers that the just to steal money. As Andrew tries to leave, some drunken thugs mock him. They say, "You must have sold your daughter for money." Parents here often do this. Hearing this, Andrew's blood boils. The guard outside comes to stop him. In a rage, Andrew delivers a powerful elbow to the guard and attacks all the thugs who are mocking him while not joking him. Although he's a professional MMA fighter, it's difficult to fight so many people alone. The thugs surround him and begin beating him mercilessly. Andrew nearly faints. Suddenly, all the lights in the bar go out, shocking everyone. Just then, a strange figure emerges from the darkness. Wearing night vision goggles, he begins to kill the thugs, one by one, with an iron rod. It's none other than Samson. Samson was actually sitting at home, immersed in old memories and alcohol. But finally, his conscience awakens, and he decides to help Andrew. Samson rescues Andrew, takes him to his meat shop, and bandages his wounds. Andrew asks, "How did you find me?" Samson coldly replies, "It's my job to find people, and finding a tall, fat American in this area is no big deal. The next morning, Andrew and Monica meet with Selvin, the police officer. Selvin explains that he has a clue. The gangsters probably kidnapped. They dyed Becky's hair to make her look like an old woman, so the hotel staff wouldn't suspect her. Monica is furious because 2 days have passed and the police haven't found anything significant. Selvin explains to them that they made a mistake by hiring Samson. He explains that Samson is a wolf, not a detective. His previous mistake resulted in 4 innocent children, Becky's age, being burned alive. Selvin wanted them to trust the police. He believed that even though the police were taking a while, they were acting according to the law. Started his own investigation. That night, Samson arrives at the hideout of Bogdanov, the city's most powerful mafia businessman. Disguised as a delivery boy, Samson stabs the guard with a poisoned needle hidden in his pen into his neck, killing him. The guard watching the CCTV notices something's amiss and alerts everyone. Just then, a car speeds in. The thugs open fire on the car. But when the car stops, it's revealed to be empty. Samson had used the car as a decoy, having sneaked in from the back door, naturally now. Samson sneaks inside and ties the CCTV guard to a bomb. When the other thugs arrive, the explosion detonates, disorienting everyone. Meanwhile, Samson captures Bogdanov, leaving behind a faint smoke. When Bogdanov opens his eyes, he's tied to a bed. Samson has carved a name into his stomach with a knife. Becky shouts to Samson, asking where the girl is. Donov lies, saying he doesn't know anything and that it's probably the work of a Russian gang. But Samson threatens him. I don't care who did it. Use your power and have that girl with her parents by tomorrow. Otherwise, next time I won't leave you alive. Samson leaves, but he wasn't gone. He's secretly listening to Bogdanov's conversation. As soon as Samson leaves, Bogdanov immediately calls his men and angrily orders, kill both that girl, Becky, and Emily, who kidnapped her. Boy. The situation has now escalated. Hearing this, Samson confirms that Bogdanov was lying. He immediately hacks Bogdanov's phone. Samson finds the number of a man named Eki on Bogdanov's phone. He immediately calls his son Selvin and asks him to retrieve the details. Samson also tells her, I'm back in the field, just as you wanted. Meanwhile, a gangster named Vas arrives at Emily's house, armed with a saw and gasoline. He tells Emily that the plan to sell the American girl has been cancelled. Bogdanov has ordered her to be killed. Emily is enraged. She says this is a big money issue for them and that Bogdanov has become a coward. Voss becomes enraged and shoots Emily and her boyfriend right there. He then takes the gasoline and heads towards the bathroom where Becky was imprisoned. A short while later, Samson and police officer Selwyn arrive at the scene and find a charred body. The body was in such a bad condition that it was unrecognizable, but it had a bracelet on its hand that was identical to Becky's. The police suspect it is Becky. Everyone rushes to the hospital where Andrew and Monica are waiting for the DNA report. When the doctor emerges, he delivers the news everyone feared. The body is Becky's. Upon hearing this, Monica collapses and falls to the ground. Andrew's heart is shattered. In anger and grief, Monica goes to Samson and slaps him hard. Or me. She believes Samson is responsible for their daughter's death. Then everyone leaves. Only Samson's son, Selwyn, stays and encourages his father that it wasn't his fault. The next morning, Andrew and Monica are devastated and prepare to return to America. Meanwhile, Samson sits alone in his shop, drenched in grief and regret. Selwyn tries to console him again, but the two fathers argue. Samson angrily shoves him away and sits back down, drinking heavily. Painful flashes of old memories resurface and he collapses in a drunken stupor. When Samson awakens, he sees Bogdanov arrive with his thugs. Bogdanov wants revenge because Samson broke into his house, threatened him, and killed half of his goons. Samson is devastated. He says, kill me. I'm ready to die. But Bogdanov doesn't want to let him die so easily. He wants to torture him. His goons begin brutally beating Samson with iron chains and whips. But amidst the pain, Samson's mind suddenly starts working. He connects the dots and realizes something is wrong. This could all be a ruse. Samson's fighting spirit returns. He retaliates and confronts the goons. One of the goons is about to shoot him who had returned him, when Selvin, who had returned worried about his father, arrives and kills him, saving his father's life. Samson immediately picks up his gun and kills Bogdanov along with the remaining goons. Now, only one thing is on Samson's mind. He immediately pulls out old photos of Becky and begins to examine the bracelet she wore. When Samson examines Becky's photo carefully, he realizes something profound. Becky always wore the bracelet on her right hand. However, the body found had the bracelet on her left hand. Samson realizes that the body wasn't Becky's, but rather that it was all a well-planned conspiracy. He and his son immediately rush to the airport, where Andrew and Monica are about to leave. Samson stops them and asks if Becky always wore the bracelet on her right hand. When they say yes, Samson's suspicion turns to belief. He says Becky is alive. The burned body belonged to another girl, who was made to look like their daughter. Andrew and Monica are incredulous, because the DNA test matched. Samson replies, in this country money can buy anything, even the truth. To prove his point, Samson abducts the doctor who gave the report. When the doctor awakens, he's bound in chains. Monica, furious, tries to force the truth out of him. But when he lies, she inflicts so much pain on him that he writhes in agony. Finally, the doctor breaks down, crying out. A man named Stro bribed him to change the DNA report. Samson explains that Stro is a very dangerous player and they must leave immediately. He also alerts his son, Selwyn. Andrew's anger is so intense that, before leaving, he punches the corrupt doctor so hard that he falls unconscious. The next morning, Voss and Stro are happily practicing their shooting when the same doctor calls them. Stro gets furious as soon as the doctor calls. He's angry that Voss's plan has failed and Samson has learned the truth. Stro says now they have to find another American girl other than Becky to send to the Sheikh. But Voss is adamant. He says he will eliminate Samson and the girl's parents. Stro warns him, no matter what happens, my name must not be revealed. Otherwise, my reputation will be ruined. Meanwhile, Samson takes Andrew and Monica to a safe house set up by his son, Selwyn. Samson reveals that Stro is no ordinary thug, but the defense minister of Moldova. His real job is to run the secret police and control the human trafficking ring from behind the scenes. Samson claims that Stro will go to any lengths to protect his honor. He takes away Andrew and Monica's phones to prevent the enemy from tracking them and gives them guns for their own protection. Meanwhile, Becky is imprisoned in an old factory far from the city, surrounded by barbed wire and armed guards. A woman named Marina comes to give Becky food. Becky sees that Marina is wearing the same glasses that belong to her. Hope dawns on Becky, hoping that her bag and phone might be somewhere there. She tries to ask for them, but Marina threatens her. These glasses are mine. Now don't try to be too smart. Meanwhile, Samson goes to meet his friend Selwyn. He tells him that Becky is alive and needs evidence against Stro. Samson says, "You're the only one in the entire force I can trust." But while they're talking, Stro's undercover officers arrive. Samson has to flee to escape the police. He tells Selwyn that he'll contact her through his son. Back where Becky was held captive, Marina's anger subsides and she returns Becky's glasses. Just then, a car pulls up, carrying some other children. Marina hurries out, but forgets to lock the door. Becky, seizing the opportunity, sneaks out. She spots a phone on the table. She calls her own number to use the ring to find her phone hot down. She finds it in a storage room. Becky wastes no time and calls her father. Andrew and Monica break down in tears upon hearing their daughter's voice. Becky says, "I don't have much time. I don't know where I am, but you can track my phone signal on my laptop." She tells her father how to find the location. Andrew finds Becky's location on the laptop. But then the thugs reach Becky and she has to hang up. She is captured again. But here comes a terrifying twist. Voss was actually watching all this. He had deliberately left the door open so that Becky could call her parents. His real intention wasn't to catch Becky, but to use her phone signal to find Andrew, Monica, and Samson's safe house. Voss sends his goons to the safe house to kill everyone, while he himself stays there to keep an eye on Becky. Meanwhile, Andrew and Monica, without waiting for Samson, set out to rescue their daughter. Andrew and Monica have decided to all night you save her, monsieur. They plan to tell Samson this on the way. Meanwhile, Samson goes to a cemetery to retrieve his old weapons, where he had buried them. His son, Selwyn, tells him that the Aki whose number he had found is actually Sheikh Akil, Stro's biggest business partner. This sheikh is fond of collecting innocent American girls, and Stro kidnapped Becky as a gift for him. Just then, Andrew calls. He says, "We found Becky's location. She's in Chaya Prajan, and we're about to arrive." Samson immediately realizes it's a trap and shouts for them to stop. But due to poor signal, the conversation is cut short and the call is disconnected. Samson wastes no time in following them. The next morning, Andrew and Monica arrive at the prison. They kill the guard at the gate, but he was merely a decoy. As soon as they enter, does Amesha Voss's goons surround them. Vi shows no mercy and orders their immediate elimination. But Samson enters just in time. He wreaks havoc on the goons with his loaded guns, killing them all. He jumps from a height and reaches Andrew and Monica. Monica finds the keys from a dead goon, and the three of them rush inside the prison without delay. They enter through a tunnel where they find a girl who, from a distance, looks like Becky, but she turns out to be Tanya. Tanya also imprisoned there. Asks for their help. Monica immediately unlocks her handcuffs and Tina shows them the way to Becky. Meanwhile, Voss's anger reaches its peak. He didn't expect Andrew and Monica to make it this far, and he never imagined that the butcher Samson would be with them. Furthermore, they had rescued Tanya, a major source of income for Voss. He shouts orders to his goons to kill the three and bring her back. On the way, the goons begin firing at them, preventing them from moving forward. Then Samson uses his brain and throws a smoke bomb. Taking advantage of the smoke, he kills them all. Voss, watching this unfold on CCTV, is driven mad. He sends his remaining goons into vehicles to surround Samson. But Samson too has come prepared. He pulls a bazooka from his bag and blows up an oncoming vehicle. Andrew and Monica don't lag behind, throwing grenades at the remaining vehicles. Meanwhile, Stroh's condition is worsening. Pressure from the US government is mounting, and the police are investigating him. He calls Voss and threatens him, saying, "You only have 1 hour. If you don't stop them, I'll cut into the field myself and kill everyone." Stroh's threat has ruined Voss's condition. Now he has only 1 hour left, or Stroh will kill him too. Voss now plays a new and dirty trick. Voss recalls all his thugs and blocks the way. He deploys some of his snipers on the hill to keep an eye on them from above. Samson understands that the enemy's sudden retreat is a sign of a major conspiracy. Voss then calls Andrew and makes a condition: "If you return Tanya to us, I'll release Becky." Tanya is terrified and cries. She doesn't want to go back to those brutes. Samson warns that trusting Voss is courting death. But Voss now begins the emotional torture. He makes Becky's screams sound over the phone. Becky is screaming in pain. Hearing this, Monica's heart breaks and she begins to cry. Voss doesn't stop there. He stipulates that Samson must stand in a place where he can be clearly seen on CCTV cameras, or the deal is off. For a moment, Monica is so helpless that she begs Tanya to leave so that her daughter can be saved. But Tanya, sobbing, says, "Don't send me. I've already lost my sister. The same girl these men burned to death to make her look like Becky." Hearing this, everyone is stunned. Now the matter has become not just about saving Becky, but also about avenging that innocent girl. In fact, Voss had called Samson to the open field so that snipers could kill him. Andrew and Monica are deeply saddened by Tanya's story. But then Samson sees snipers on the hill above. Samson immediately makes a plan and asks Tanya, "Do you trust me?" Wait. Samson calls Voss and tells him he's ready for the deal. As per the plan, Marina brings Becky and Tanya is sent in. Samson does as Voss instructed. He stands in front of the camera to make Voss think Samson is trapped. As soon as Becky reaches her parents, Voss orders his snipers to kill them all. But suddenly, both snipers fall from above and die. Voss is stunned. He doesn't understand who killed the snipers while Samson is standing in front of the camera. Then Samson reveals the truth. He had installed a chip in the CCTV camera, which is why the old recording was playing on the screen. While Voss was watching Samson standing on the screen, Samson had actually escaped and killed the snipers. Enraged, Voss orders his remaining goons to attack. But just then, the Moldovan police and Selvin's team arrive. Samson had already alerted the police. All the gangsters are apprehended. Voss still refuses to give up and moves to kill Tanya. But Tanya takes out the gun Samson had given her and riddles Voss with bullets. Marina, who witnessed all this, and embraces Tanya, understanding her pain. Andrew, Monica, and Becky embrace each other. They are now safe forever. Samson has righted the wrongs of his past by saving Tanya and Becky. He no longer sees those old, frightening shadows. The next day, Andrew's family leaves for America. Meanwhile, Stroh, the defense minister, is praying for forgiveness for his crimes in a church. He says, "God, forgive me." Then the curtain is lifted, revealing Samson, who says, "God will forgive you, but not me," and he kills Stroh right there. The story ends with this. Friends, if you like the story, then shower this gun emoji in the comments.